I actually saw the Enola Gay at the Air and Space Museum in Chantilly, Virginia. So I have those photos as references. All right, about to get started on this kit, the Enola Gay. And I've got all my references, and I've got my copy off of ScaleMates and wrote down some colors and a couple of other things that I need to do. So I am going to get started cutting all this out and cleaning it up. I know I said I wasn't going to need my references, but actually in consulting them, this is an ultra simple kit, and I found a lot of just obvious detail that the kit doesn't include. So I am going to do a little bit of scratch building here and there just to add obvious detail and make it look a little better. So one of the first things I noticed was this dome structure underneath. So I went to the spares and actually cut off the front of 2 of those gas tanks and put those together. And then before bringing the fuselage halves together, I marked where that surface detail went and cut that off. Then took various sizes of spare sprue and plugged those holes where the gun turrets go. Also added that piece in the back where the windows go. And then for the front of the fuselage here where the doors meet, I took some spare cardstock and worked that in there. As you can see in these references, those engines have exhaust pipes, and they're actually on both sides of the engine. But of course the kit doesn't have not even an opening, so I'm going to have to create those. After a bunch of experimentation, I came across this spare hose and tested that in there, and yeah, I think that's going to work. We have this fuselage smooth, fixed the seam, and fixed all of those. Let's see if we can see it. Yeah, plugged all those openings for the gun turrets, and so now I'm going to go back and rescribe all the lines, and I left some of the raised ones. You probably can't see it here, but I left some of the raised ones just to give me an idea of where I need to go, and then I'll work from references. And then on the bottom here, fix those landing gear doors. On these engine roots, there are these, I guess they're supposed to be vents that are sticking up, but on the real thing, at least at rest like this, they're not sticking up, and I like that smoother look, so I'm going to take those off. Okay, so I intend to go with the Alclad, but there's a couple of different color variations. So I ran to the hobby shop and I got steel. And then I needed some more base. I only had this much left, and I knew that wouldn't be enough. All they had was this gray base, if you can see that. So I figured I'd give that a try. All right, so after that Alclad base, I noticed I had to come back and rework where I fixed those gun turrets. You could still see a little ripple. And so I fixed that, and then went ahead and attached the wings. Think I've got that straight. I'm going to mask these engine fronts. Looking at those references, I believe that's aircraft gray on the front there. If you see that aircraft gray line, I'm also going to mask with just the thin masking right there, and then put these on, and then, you know, proceed from there. It's already August 7th. I'm kind of bummed. This has taken longer than I thought it would. All right, finished up with that first coat there, which is the polished aluminum. Here's the result. And did those engines there after masking the tips of those. And then if you can see here, just with a line of tape, mask the fronts of those engine roots to get that gray line there. So let that dry, and then I'll come back with that steel, I guess, down the center of that wing on the top there. So I started masking for that all the way across, and then come back with that steel Alclad. To get that canopy up front there, I experimented with a bunch of different stuff, including bare metal foil, but it kept falling off and it just didn't look good. So in the end, I just came back to paint and just freehanded it. I have shaky hands. I know it doesn't look great, but that's the best I could do after a couple of different tries. And then for that canopy up there, went back to my spares, actually the ones I had used from the other Minicraft kits I built, and used the windows from those, pared all those down and came up with that. And pushing all those around and getting those straight took forever. But at the end, I think it came out okay. And then same thing for those windows in the back there. Went to those spares again and put those on back there. Then came back and finished up those exhausts, cut a bunch of those pieces of pipe and went through and put one in each hole there. And then finishing up with that detail I took off and set aside earlier, the observation bubble and the various antenna. So place those, and I just have that one last one to put on. I know it's a little bit late, but I wanted to build this B-29 to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the drop of the first operational atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima, which helped bring the war to an end. So I'll put it on the turntable and give you a little history. The Enola Gay was one of the first 15 B-29 bombers built to the silver plate specification, giving them the primary ability to function as nuclear weapon delivery aircraft. These modifications included an extensively modified bomb bay with pneumatic doors and British bomb attach and release systems, reversible pitch propellers that gave more braking power on landing, improved engines with fuel injection and better cooling, and the removal of protective armor and gun turrets. Enola Gay was personally selected by Colonel Paul W. Tibbets, Jr., the commander of the 509th Composite Group, on May 9, 1945, while still on the assembly line. The aircraft was accepted by the United States Army Air Forces on 18 May 1945 and assigned to the 393rd Bombardment Squadron, Heavy, 509th Composite Group. On August 5th, during preparation for the atomic mission, Tibbets assumed command of the aircraft and named it after his mother, Enola Gay Tibbets. Tibbets later recalled, "I had decided to give up a medical career to become a military pilot, and my dad thought I had lost my marbles, but mother took me aside and said, 'I know you'll be all right, son.'" So in the early morning hours, Tibbets and his Army Air Force maintenance man, Private Nelson Miller, painted the name just below the pilot's window. Hiroshima was the primary target for the first nuclear bombing mission on August 6th, with Kokura and Nagasaki as alternative targets. Enola Gay, piloted by Tibbets, took off from North Field in the northern Mariana Islands, about 6 hours flight time from Japan, accompanied by 2 other B-29s carrying recording instrumentation and to take photographs. After leaving Tinian, the 3 aircraft made their way separately to Iwo Jima, where they rendezvoused and set course for Japan. The aircraft arrived over the target in clear visibility at 32,330 feet. Navy Captain William S. Deke Parsons of Project Alberta, who was in command of the mission, armed the bomb during the flight to minimize the risks during takeoff. His assistant, Second Lieutenant Morris R. Jepson, removed the safety devices 30 minutes before reaching the target area. The release at 8:15 Hiroshima time went as planned, and the little boy bomb took 53 seconds to fall from the aircraft, flying at 31,060 feet to the predetermined detonation height of about 1,968 feet. Enola Gay traveled 11.5 miles before it felt the shock waves from the blast. Although buffeted by the shock, neither Enola Gay nor the other planes were damaged. So there it is in the World War II section of my shelves, along with my Tuskegee Airmen and those autographs and my D-Day models. So a little bit bummed that I missed the anniversary, but I'm glad I got this plane built for this anniversary. And it was a challenge with all those decals. I took that B-29 Enola Gay decal and put that on the stand there. All in all, I think it came out pretty good. So as always, hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching and happy modeling.